From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBacks PrimeTime Capper, and it is Monday. We are back after a week off. I just had to recharge the batteries and everything like that last week of July and everything. It's the summertime. You know, everybody takes a little summer sabbatical, siesta, things of that nature, and that's exactly what I needed to do. So, you know what time it is, and you know who I got with me today. And you already know we're ready to go ahead and talk about all these crazy things that happen in sports. The sports world wanted to go crazy when I take the week off. So let's go ahead and, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in the man himself, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. What's up, Jeff? What's going on? I hope everything's good out there on the East Coast. But you know what? He's showing love to the Mecca of all sports betting, the Superbook.
Pops, you're right. The world blew up last week, and you forgot to mention the Olympics to boot. I mean, for us at ECSI, we had one of our best months ever. We closed the month MLB 29-14. We cashed the Bucks plus 650 as champs, and we hit a Morikawa ticket plus 3,600 for the British Open. And last week we ended the week to start August plus 4 units. So it's been an amazing run. We're excited. So much to talk about. Obviously, an hour won't be enough, but blessed and honored to be here as always, Pops.
All right. Well, Friday is always open. You know that. All right. All right. So, you know, and me and my guys finished with a 22-6 run here on the last 7 days of the month. It literally is 4-0. I think we did 3 out of 4 set about 6 days in a row. And then we start off the month 3 out of 4 as well, too. So you guys don't hesitate to sign up. We are on the second half of the year, and so that means discounts are in play. So, you know, don't hesitate to sign up and become a part of the PrimeTime Sports Investors, or you guys can go ahead and get part of the East Coast Sports Invest, where they do about one really, really big value play for you daily. Right, Jeff?
We average between 1 and 3 plays a day.
Right.
And then on the Saturdays, obviously, the college football season and the college basketball season might go as far as 5 to 7 plays, but they're sent out periodically, so right. I won't bombard them big all at once. But it's definitely it's time to get bunkered in, buckled up, and let's make some money.
All right, and real quick, man, I know we'll get to this in a moment. We're going to talk about some NBA, but real quick, Oklahoma and Texas. I know I don't have banners and stuff for it, but pretty much I'm thinking that this might be one of the most selfish moves in all of college sports, but at the same time, it could be one of the most lucrative moves in all of college sports as well, too. This is a long time overdue in a sense where you have Oklahoma, Texas, and Alabama all in the same pool at the same time, and you know, pretty much I say the same pool, meaning the same conference, you know, and then you bring back the rivalry of Texas and Texas A&M as well too, and then Oklahoma will be able to get themselves back into the rivalry game with the teams like Missouri and Arkansas as well too, Texas as well, and it goes to show you. But it's very sad to see that the conference that was built by the old Big 8 and the old Southwest Conference is literally on its way to dissolving. And I think the biggest winner here, Jeff, to be honest with you, when it comes to other conferences, are going to be the Pac-12 and the AAC. They're going to pick up the pieces here. And I could honestly see a team like, say, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, moving on to the Pac-12 now. And also, there's another team I want to throw out there as well too. Baylor and TCU could be teams headed over there as well. You know what I mean? Because the Pac-12 dollars are some good dollars. And then you have the other side of the coin where you have a West Virginia who get locked back up with their old arch rivals, Cincinnati in the AAC. And then you also have you have a team like, I just called out TCU. TCU somewhere, TCU's going major. We know that. We both know that. But I'm trying to figure out what other teams, what Kansas would be all is saying is already getting prepared to make their self available to the Big Ten. I'm trying to think who are the leftover teams here, because we all know Mizzou and Texas A&M left years ago. And I'm trying to figure out who are Iowa State would be another team that would love going to the AAC in a sense, because that makes a lot of sense for them as well too. You know, and maybe they might join Kansas as well on going to the Big Ten so they can have that full-on rivalry with Iowa. You know, that's big dollars for them as well too. And they play against a lot of the Big Ten schools as is in preseason play. So that makes a lot of sense in itself that Iowa State will probably move on to the Big Ten. But all in all, the Big 12 is dead. What do you think, Jeff?
As we spoke prior to the start of the show, I think the move was predicated with Texas and losing the recruits to A&M. We talked about a recruit looking at Texas, probably on paper looks better, lesser conference, but you're going to Texas. But you can go to Texas A&M and play in the SEC. So if you're a football star and you're looking for that opportunity to play the elite of the elite and have a better opportunity maybe of getting to the NFL, I think you start to – Jimbo Fisher is starting to steal a lot of the Texas recruits. For myself, I always look at it at the next level in this regards. I know everyone's focusing on these guys changing conferences for football, but how does their basketball teams match up? And as you were just talking, an Iowa State, maybe not ready for Big Ten football, but again, last year they were down, but they've had some good years in basketball. I think they do well there. The Kansas in the Big Ten, again, not ready for that football schedule, but Jesus, that would be amazing to have a Kansas Michigan on Thursday and then a Kansas Michigan State on Sunday. I would love to see that. And for the SEC, the rich get richer. I mean, let's be realistic. I think it's a good move. Oklahoma, again, I think fits very well in SEC basketball over there. For football, unfortunately, they're going to have to start working on the defense. Definitely can score against anyone, but, defensively, again, they can't play in that SEC style. But I think basketball-wise, both Texas and Oklahoma fit the bill for SEC hoops. I mean, Kentucky had an off year last year, but I think they fit right in there. I like it. They're going to come to these power conferences, and so the SEC might get to 20, and then just build the Big Ten up to 16, and the Pac-12 again. This is an opportunity for your Pac-12 here to start cherry picking. Hey guys, come on over here. The basketball is getting better. It's always there. Look what UCLA did last year, And in football, you always got the USCs, UCLAs, Oregons, Washingtons. Come on. We're ready.
Colorado and Utah seem to love it because Utah was always a power in the old WAC and in the Mountain West. And then once they moved on to the Pac-12, they became a school that now has opportunities at being in national championship scenarios. And Colorado was always a part of the Big Eight, but they were always like, hey, these guys are just here. You know what I mean? Oh, they're Nebraska. And when Nebraska left, their big rival, they said, you know what? We're not sticking around here in the Big 12 anymore. Let's go over to the conference that's a lot closer to us and is going to provide way more TV dollars for us than our own conference does. And I'm going to tell you like this, a lot of the Big 12, specifically places like specifically teams like specifically teams like Texas A&M, Missouri were turned off, and Nebraska when it seemed like the only teams that were going to get into a national championship talk, or when we had the BCS and BCS talk, was Texas or Oklahoma. And that wasn't fair. And the greatest example of the power that those teams bestowed onto the conference was the year that TCU and Kansas State TCU and Baylor both were damn near perfect and were beating teams by 50 weekly. And they faced off at the end of the year. I think the winner was TCU of the game. And then Ohio State sneaks into the actual Final Four. And that was the writing on the wall that if your name's not Texas or Oklahoma, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to be a runner-up. And I think that has really, really been the stigma for this conference for a long time. So that's why we're here where we're at now, Jeff. And pretty much, I think you're right. I think it is right. I think this is just inevitable. And I think, honestly, that this is why we created the AAC. Because the AAC was a pretty much, okay, the bastards of the Big East and the champions of the Conference USA, in a sense. And now all those guys combined to make a conference. Now they got the opportunity to bolster up that conference with adding, say, West Virginia, as I said before, and maybe quite possibly, Iowa State adds in as well, too, to give themselves an edge in both basketball and football. And this actually brings the dollars up, and it actually brings the resume up for this conference as well, too. So this is not a bad thing for the Big 12 to dissolve, because it was always all pins and needles, to be honest with you, because it was too super of a conference when you think about it. You had a lot of Texas teams here. And when one of the Texas teams leave, everybody gets their panties in a bunch, in a sense. Hey, Texas wasn't my big rival when you think about Baylor, you know what I mean? TCU as well. They're not my big rival, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But we talked about a subject that I didn't even have lined up here for 12 minutes. So let's just jump into this next one, Jeff. And State of the Lakers, Jeff. And you see who's in the front now. Mr. Westbrook, what are your thoughts on the trade?
You know what? Yeah, I'll say it this way. On paper, again, you got AD, you got LeBron, and you got Westbrook. Pops, we've talked at length, what they're missing the most, and that was a pure shooter, someone that can just sit out there when LeBron drives, when they sag on AD, and just launch. I always say, sarcastically, the perfect match, I think, for you guys is Klay Thompson. If you had him out on the wing just launching, you'd be unbeatable. So again, on paper, let's go back to last year. You had the Brooklyn Nets that add Harden, that has Kyrie, and that has KD. So you have your own big three. Kuzma finally gone. There's talks that Buddy Hield still might be in the mix for you guys. If healthy, definitely the favorites to come out of the West. There's no doubt about it. I'll ask you this. Was it a perfect fit?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Because the thing is, I think it's a force. And this is, once again, a LeBron James negotiated situation. And I really feel bad that the Lakers have to be held hostage once again by a player. And I think that at the end of the day, that Jeannie Buss is kind of showing her true colors as an owner, that she's not very strong as an owner. Jerry Buss would never let players tell him what to do, ever. Because, Jerry West back in the day, Jerry West is in charge, so Jerry get the last say. And Jerry would take a player's advice, but he ain't going to go take it all the way to the bank. Rob Pelinka is probably the maybe, I won't call him the weakest general manager ever, but he's spineless. But in a way that he's a little, he's a little easy. You know what I mean? And he's acting way too much like an agent than acting like a general manager, in my opinion. LeBron has been here 3 years. We've had 3 different teams. 3 different teams, Jeff, in 3 years. And, LeBron messed up something that was kind of special with that young group that Magic and Rob put together, and the way that he refused to not help that group grow as men. Instead, he could have been just like what Chris Paul did in Phoenix with Booker and Aiden, help those boys grow into men. But LeBron ain't got patience for that. So he says, let's trade everybody for AD, one of the biggest injury-prone players in the NBA, period. Even though he's one of the biggest talents in the NBA, the guy's always hurt. It's that simple. So then you bring in AD, you bring in an outcast guy like Dwight Howard, you know what I mean? You bring in JaVale McGee that nobody really believes in, Spaceman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And pretty much you bring in these guys. You got KCP, another guy who's a part of your agent's team, you know what I mean, as one of the clients. And I really do feel like at the end of the day that LeBron James, this is why he gets a lot of the blame when it comes to teams winning and losing, because he wants to always put himself right in the middle of things, and these things have to work, right? And when they don't work, it makes him look pretty bad, because what he did was, so you kick over the house, you kick everything over, we clean it up, make it look good again. Oh, you did. Oh, something, the flag's missing. Let's kick it over again. And you know what? I'm getting tired of that mentality. And you know what? I think LeBron James is actually running his course a little bit with me as a Laker at this point right now, because the reason why I'm talking like this is, Jeff, because I'm hearing about him. He was negotiating with DeRozan. How are you negotiating with DeRozan? You're not in control of the salary cap and the contracts and things of that nature. Who can, dude? Are you? Oh, he's recruiting DeRozan, but you guys said he's negotiating with DeRozan. What do you mean negotiating with DeRozan? DeRozan has an agent. DeRozan is a full-fledged superstar in this league as well too. He's not negotiating with LeBron on how much he's going to get paid to come here. LeBron's just asking him to come play here. I don't like that type of language. You know what I mean, Jeff? The Los Angeles Lakers are not the Cleveland Cavaliers. They don't need a player's help to put the team together. And LeBron's behavior has been a bit much for me. I don't want to speak on it too much, but I think we're doing a little bit too much with the booze as of lately too, Jeff. You know what I mean? The wines and tequilas and showing up at places. I don't know. You're looking like you're kind of tired of being in the NBA, but you love being a celebrity. Let's kind of maybe get to you being a celebrity now, Mr. Space Jam.
You're talking exactly what's going on here in Boston, and it's a sad situation because Jason Tatum is actively recruiting Bradley Beal. Okay, he's not a free agent until the end of this year. Okay, to get Bradley Beal, we're going to have to trade Jaylen Brown. So they're saying that Bradley Beal can pull what AD did, force a trade, and I'm only going to these 2 teams. Okay, and for us to get them, we have to trade Jaylen Brown. So how would you like to be? Now they want to keep Tatum happy because 3 years from now he's probably going to go out west and play with Booker and Phoenix or whatever. But we're putting all our eggs in our basket with Tatum instead of the team that is there now with Brown, with Tatum. So Tatum is now the spokesman of the Boston Celtics, and it's bad. And I'm glad you brought that up for LeBron because that's what the NBA is now. And it's not, again, when Magic and Larry lost, what did you do? You tried harder in the summertime. You didn't just go and flock to another team, or you didn't just try to build the big 3, the big 4, or however it is. You built with what you had. And I will be one pissed off person right now if we go out and trade Jaylen Brown, who I like better than Tatum. Tatum, in my eyes, is a diva. He's been that way growing up, AAU to Duke. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. But he's not on the platform of Giannis and some of these other guys. And now you want to go and divide the team up because your best friend is Bradley Beal, and you want him here instead of Jaylen Brown. And the same as LeBron's doing to your Lakers.
Right. And, it's not right to me. The Lakers know how to put teams together. Jeannie Buss knows how to put teams together. You know what I mean? She's been there for this. You trust your general manager. You let your general manager do what he has to do, and that's it. You don't let player. Magic had some say, but he wouldn't sit there and be like, well, I'm over here recruiting Isaiah and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Why don't you just go take care of your kids, worry about your little silly movie that you got out right now, and let the Lakers put a team together, because they've already pretty much destroyed the back end of their future by doing this for you. Because what happens after LeBron leaves? The Lakers return to the same team that they were when the way Kobe left them. And this is breaking my heart right now, Jeff, because the thing is, you're not giving them anything to build off of. We're gonna bring in more C-rate players after you try to get these other guys to agree to minimal contracts. Carmelo's in, from what I'm hearing. Rudy Gay should be in, from what it looks like. And DeRozan's still a 50-50, maybe a 60-40, maybe a 70-30. But all in all, though, after that, you can bring back Caruso, who tries really hard. He's a really good player, things of that nature. And then you're going to be bringing in a lot of bums after that.
Hey, you got McClung.
Yeah, well, McClung ain't nothing but a come on, Jeff. He's a camp arm, as they would say in the NFL. You know what I mean? McClung
listen, the G League guys, I mean, proved their worth, as we're going to talk about soon in the draft. So a couple of them, got in and, hey, we'll take the G League route. And then they did very well. So
that's the G League program that helps them score 25 points a game to get them to the next level. What were they playing against? They didn't even play against the full brass of the G League this year. The G League. They didn't do that this year, because I didn't see the South Coast Lakers this year, in that South Bay Lakers. They still exist, Jeff. You know what I mean? I didn't see the Agua Caliente Clippers.
The problem is the problem what you guys are doing, like a lot of teams do, is it's a win now. Okay, we saw that at the Major League Trade Deadline. It's a win now. We don't care about the future. We don't care about the farm system. Therefore, it's a win now. So you put all your eggs in your basket. You get rid of your youth to try to win one more title. What's LeBron got? 2-3 years left. And then you're going to be stuck with AD. And I say that in a nice way, but you know it. He's an injury prone. You're going to have load management every other day. You just got to, the writing's on the wall for him to just break down. And so, hey, is it worth one more title? I guess that's the question.
And then what kills me is that the Lakers only had to wait a year on AD. But the impatience of LeBron, that's what kills it, because Brandon Ingram comes back. He's averaging now 28 points a game. And that's more than AD. Lonzo can shoot a three-pointer now.
Yep.
Josh Hart's still Josh. Josh Hart was always a good player. And then you get rid of Kyle Kuzma, who probably should have been the guy that should have been gone in the first place. Even though he did contribute, he looked good, and he did a lot of great things out there. But he became a real Hollywood guy for a while. You know what I mean? So pretty much, that's something that you could already said that, he's on his way out. But all in all, those state of the Lakers, I know Laker fans want to be a little bit more cheery, a little bit more excited about the situation, but I can see the future, bro. And yeah, we're gonna have a good year with Westbrook and everything like that. We're gonna add in guys. It's gonna be really exciting. But I'm looking at 5 years down the road, though, Jeff. LeBron is 6 months younger than I am. I'm 37, Jeff, and LeBron's 37. I think I forgot. Well, yeah, he's about to be 37, and pretty much he already told you that he ain't gonna be 100% anymore at that ankle injury. And he looks to already know that he's done everything he can possibly do in the NBA as well, too. And that showed last year when he wasn't able to get past the first round for the first time ever. So, you know what? At the end of the day, we could talk about this all day, but we're not. We're going to talk about the NBA draft now, Jeff. And this was I think this was a little bit of an overstatement draft in a sense, but it was a good draft, Jeff. I will give him that. But I will say this once again. The Cleveland Cavaliers actually luck up and find themselves with the most impactful player in the draft, the guy that can turn your whole franchise around in 1 year, and that's Evan Mobley. And I thought that Houston and him would be a great fit. You had Akeem there to get the pick, and it winds up to that the pick turns out to be Jalen Green, a guy that they look to see to kind of replace Harden in a sense. And then we get Cade Cunningham as the number 1 pick in the draft, another entitled player who's really good, but at the end of the day could possibly just be a role player in the NBA as well too. You know what I mean? He's good, but there's a lot of guys that do the same thing that he does. But I know everybody gets excited about him being 6'8" and all this good stuff and the comparisons to LeBron and all that. But I said that, well, is this kid coming in 240 yoked up like LeBron as the first pick? I don't think so. But I know one thing, he better get those interview skills together, though, Jeff. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. What's your thoughts?
I thought it was an interesting draft. I was thinking of you the whole time where Mobley falls. We knew Cade was going first. Actually, about 3, 4, 5 hours before the draft, the top 4 spots had been taken off the sports books, and it's kind of funny because I'll get to that point. I knew Cade was going there. The Green, I think Mobley lands in a good spot. I think, he's in a rebuilding team. They got some youth. They got some veterans. It's not a win today where Houston's always been at that point. Hey, we're trying to win, and win now. I just think it was a soft landing. But the interesting spot was the 4th spot because the whole world had Jalen Suggs going there. And, Toronto said not so fast, and they grabbed Scotty Barnes, which I love the pick. Listen, I thought Suggs is good. I think he's going to be a good NBA guy. He kind of got exposed in the Final Four, and he definitely got exposed in the championship game against Baylor. Not to say that that's what I'm judging him for. I do love the Barnes pick, and I thought that was the surprise of the first 4 out of the top 5. But overall, I'm happy where Mobley landed. I'm excited for Scotty Barnes, and let's see what Jalen does. We'll be looking at this draft for some years from now. I'm with you with the Cade Cunningham. I thought he was great. I think he had a great year. He took Oklahoma State on their back. He had a nice run in the tournament. But is he the number 1 overall pick? I think Detroit has enough holes, and they were fielding a lot of calls where I think they could have got a ransom for that 1 pick and dropped down a few spots, grabbed some more picks, and still been fine.
I honestly think, to be honest with you, other than Mobley in this top 5 that I'm looking at, I think that Jalen Suggs is going to be an incredible player for the Orlando Magic. He's going to be able to team with Cole Anthony, Greg Anthony's son. They already have Isaac there as well too. They also have Mo Bamba there as well. They got a lot of guys that they have drafted over the years that are high-end players that were drafted in the top 10 that are going to be very solid for them moving forward for the future of the Magic. They got a good coach there as well too. And I think the Magic are really going to be able to build something this year because now they got all the negativity out of there. They got all the guys they got the me first guys out of there. You know what I mean? And that showed a lot. That showed up a lot with Drew Gordon a lot this year. You know what I mean? The kid was good, but at the end of the day, you saw a lot of flaws in his game. You know what I mean? And he saw that he's a me first guy, and he didn't make the impact on the Nuggets that he should have with the guy who says that he's possibly a superstar in this league. So the Magic did the right thing when they got rid of him, that they never had a star-type player in Gordon, and they have star-type players in the guys that keep getting hurt. But I think that, Jonathan Isaac is going to be really good. I think Mo Bamba will finally get it all the way together. And at the end of the day, you got Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs, and they're gonna push this team. They're gonna push them hard, Jeff. And I think that's a good spot. And I think Scotty Barnes probably got onto the one team that will be able to get themselves to the playoffs fairly quickly out this group as well too, because you know what? They still have good players there. You know what I mean? Toronto has done a great job of developing talent. That's one thing Toronto is really good at, is developing their talent through the G League system and through the NBA as well too, and giving guys time to play and giving guys time to become really good basketball players in the league. And so Scotty Barnes is going to thrive off of that because he's going to have good teammates to be around. And come on, he got Nick Nurse as his head coach. He'll be fine. So he quite possibly could put himself in the running as Rookie of the Year right away if he can start off very well. But then we look at the other side of this draft as well too, and was a lot of really good players picked up, especially in the second round. I like that Luka Garza pick as well too. I thought that was a monster pick right there late in the draft. And then also, it's funny, Chicago came up off of the kid from Illinois, Ayo, and I thought Ayo was a top 10 player, to be honest with you. So there was a lot of depth in this draft. There's a lot of really good players in this draft, and I think that this could be one of the better drafts in the last few years as well too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Jeff, real quick, what are your final thoughts on that part?
Well, I a little disappointed from my guy there, James Bouknight. I thought he'd sneak into the top 10. I would have to say what I'm hearing, and again, I could be totally wrong here, but at number 8, when the Magic takes Franz Wagner from Michigan, I think was a whiff there. I think that they missed out. It could have had a Bouknight, and even the Pelicans at 10, who draft Zaire Williams, who then got traded to the Grizz, could have grabbed him there. But overall, again, I think it was fun. It was a great draft. It was very entertaining. A lot of trades coming in. Even a Kispert at 15 from the Wizards, Moody, Warriors got another shooter. I mean, what the hell? I mean, just what they needed, So I like it. Again, we'll have to wait, watch, and see. But again, overall, I think there was a few swings and misses. But again, we see this all the time, Pops. Guys that were like trying to wonder where the fit is. We don't think it was the right pick that blossom and vice versa. But it was entertaining. It was deeper than some of the drafts for sure. And let's get the ball up in the air and let's see what happens.
All right. So we're about 30 minutes in already, Jeff. That's what happens when you've been off for a week. So let's go ahead and see what let's go ahead and talk about the Chiefs. We'll bring up the MLB in a moment. But let's go ahead and talk about the Chiefs. And no, Jeff loves these guys, but I'm not in love with the Chiefs, Jeff. I think the Chiefs are regressing this year, Jeff, to be honest with you. It all starts with losing a Super Bowl, in my opinion. Name the last team that won the year before, then lost the year before, and they came back and were really that good the next season.
I probably have to guess the Patriots, but I'm just talking on butt there. For teams that have been able to get back-to-back and then how they are in the third year. I know you've been that guy that is, regressed. You have to remember a couple things here. 17 games this year. So you're telling me, the under-over at 12.5 is tricky, but they're going to have to lose 5 times. So I don't have their schedule in front of me. I know the division got better. I know their offensive line, hopefully, again, last year, the Super Bowl, they got exposed for 2 reasons. They lose, both bookends on the offensive line, and Mahomes was hurt. But I just think they got so much talent. It's going to be tough to beat them 5 times in the regular season. I think they're the clear-cut favorites in that division. The AFC has gotten better, obviously. We talked Buffalo, Baltimore. There's some younger teams coming up that are getting ready to make their next step up. But when you got someone like Mahomes, as long as he stays healthy, they're a tough out, Pups.
Well, Jeffy, I'm going to be honest with you. Be honest with you, brother. Pretty much what I'm looking at here is that I'm pulling up their schedule right now as well too. All right, so they got the Browns the first week of the season, okay, Jeff? And that's going to be tough, okay? The Browns are coming in as a team that thought that was a few plays away. There was just certain. I think it was overexcitement to know that, yeah, Mahomes out the game at the moment, but this team was a few moments away from actually upsetting the Chiefs, and both of us know that, Jeff. If they could have just breathed a little bit there in that fourth quarter, because all in all, Chad Henne was only in there to make sure that they won the game and managed to win the game, because they really got shut all the way down. When you look at their schedule in the first 5 weeks, they got 4 teams that are going to really, really give them some issues. But luckily enough, 3 of those games are at home. Now, 2 of them are on. Go ahead.
I will say this. They are the only team in the NFL this year. 17 games. Now, this is obviously the look-aheads, but they're favored in all 17 games also, which doesn't mean a lot, but there's no other team in the NFL that is favored in all 17 games.
Right. And then I think that might switch up when they get in here to play maybe the Tennessee game by that point, because Tennessee should be really good out the gate as well too. And I think Kansas City, yeah, that's great that they're going to be the favorite in all these games, but I really look at the health of Mahomes moving forward as well too. And is Mahomes' head all the way 100% on winning for the Chiefs, or is his head on being the best brand man in the NFL? You know what I mean? And, I think a lot of his ideas and thoughts are somewhere not on the football field. And I think that's something that you have to look at. That's where Tom Brady beats all these guys. Jeff, I'm serious too. He doesn't jump on Twitter defending other athletes and doing all this other extra stuff to try to look cool and look at me. I'm a good guy. I'm a part of the millennial future and blah, 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 blah. No, Tom Brady goes out there, practices, calls his teammate up. Hey, man, what are you doing right now? Did you watch the tape last night? Okay, I'm going to quiz you real quick. I don't hear about Mahomes doing any of that. All I ever hear about Mahomes is being a goofball and putting ketchup on steak. That's it.
Listen. We talked at length about LeBron and putting his team together. Well, that's what Tom did when he came into Tampa last year. No, this guy's got to come. This guy's got to come. He tells a lot about the TB12 brand and his vitamin water that stops COVID and is anti-aging, yada yada yada. So he does a lot of this. And listen, he's just trying to beat Father Time. And I think Patrick Mahomes is exactly what the NFL needed, and he put some life into it. The guy's just phenomenal. You can love him or hate him. Yeah, he has some corny commercials. We do know that. They all do now. But the guy's been in back-to-back Super Bowls. And listen, we had the Bucs in the Super Bowl. We had them money line. We had them point spread, and we had Brady winning the MVP. But the point is, it was the perfect storm for the Bucs. The injuries just came out. And you're right, the Browns are right there. Don't forget, the Chiefs had to make that 4th down play to win that, or they were done. And so I just think he's so talented. And Andy Reid always, as you know, back to the Eagles days or whatever, they always get those teams to win the division, get them to be hosting these playoff games, and then anything can happen. I think Buffalo was that team last year. Hey, they took the next step. Will they now follow up and take the next step after that? But I think Mahomes is real good. He's special, Pops. He's a generational quarterback.
Well, they ain't going to the 3rd Super Bowl in a row, Jeff. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right.
Well, listen, I'm not saying they are going. We'll talk about that at the NFL Bet Exchange. We'll put our necks out on the line. AFC, NFC, Super Bowl winner. I just, you got to beat the champs. And they were knocked down, but they got back up. And, I'm not ready to put Josh Allen and Buffalo as that team, but there's some teams there that are close and that are ready. It's just, will they be able to make the next step?
All right. And last team that came out of this situation where they went 1-1 and then lost one, Green Bay Packers 97, 98. Yes.
That was the 5 years, right? They won the Super
Yes.
Bowl, and then
Won the Super Bowl, then lost
Elway.
Goes the next year. Yep.
They lost to Elway.
Yep. And that was one of our last back-to-back champions as well, too, the Broncos. So pretty much that's what I'm saying. I think that the Chiefs are going to regress just like the Packers did at that point as well, too. You got to get with the fact that you're losing players that will keep key players to both of those runs. And it's just not always about Pat Mahomes. It's just my whole thing. You know what I mean, Jeff? Like, I don't think that he can throw touchdowns and catch them to himself as well. You know what I mean? there got to be something going on. But we'll see, though. It's going to be a great season. A lot of parity here. But with that, after 40 minutes, pretty much we should have took a break about 20 minutes ago, but it's all good because we're back in the fold. And, you know, we're just excited, man. We're just excited. So it is what it is. So pretty much we will be back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DBacks, the Primetime Capper, and the giant of Cape Cod himself, Jeff Dawson. And this is the Primetime Angles Live, and we will be right back.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DBacks, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
Hey, but another thing though, hey, he's never coming back to the Texas, and I was gung ho. He'll be back. And these Chines at practice right now.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when $50,000 is on the line daily too?
Yeah, they used to be able to retract those fines, and they can't do that no more. So he's at least got to show up. You know, the NFL hasn't come down on anything. You know, there's been no suspension. There's been nothing. And you really can't trade him until you know.
Backroom talk, Jeff? Backroom talk? I think it was a backroom discreet talk between him and the NFL. Look, buddy. And the owners of the Texans, look, buddy. You add demanding trades and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah.
What we're going to do is when you show up to camp, we're going to act like this never even happened. And you just get along down the road, boy. Hey, but look, they're 100-1 to win the AFC right now. 100-1. That's it. That's going to change as you know that Watts is going to play week 1. And I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to take back his skill level to be just to spite the Texans. He still got to look good to get traded. You know what I mean? But all in all, let's get into baseball, Jeff. Let's get into baseball. And up first, we got the MLB Trade Deadline. Who was the biggest winner and who was the biggest loser? I'll let you go take the floor for this one, Jeff.
You know, God, being a Red Sox fan, they're playing above their skis. Everyone knows that. Same as the Giants. They needed help at first base. They needed some left-handed bats. The Rizzo just made so much sense. And at the end of the day, the Yankees the day before grabbed Gallo. So I'm like, all right, they got their left-handed bat. And I think that in spite, saying, Red Sox, you ain't getting Rizzo, they come in and get Rizzo. And then they add Haney at the deadline. But I don't know what the Nationals are doing. I have no listen. Okay, here it was reported. It was reported that the Padres are real close and about to sign Max. So I think what happened is the Dodgers came in and says, okay, well, what do you want for Max and Trey Turner? So Trey Turner's 1 year away from going to free agency. And the fact that they have Soto, all right, who's a 5'2" player, and you got Trey Turner, who's a 5'2" player. They don't grow on trees. For the Dodgers to actually whiff on Bauer at $40 million a year, he ain't playing the rest of the year, to then to be able to go out at the trading deadline and say, oh, the hell with it, we'll just go get Max and Trey Turner. I'm dumbfounded. How that
was mind blowing, wasn't it?
It can't happen. And now the Dodgers have leverage on Corey Seager. Says, hey, Trey will play second now. Corey. Kind of funny how all of a sudden they trade for Trey Turner and Corey Seager's back, right? And now Corey can say, hey, I'm going to free agency. And the Dodgers can say, fine, see ya. Well, we'll just move Trey Turner to shortstop. I mean, the rich got richer. And so obviously your team was the big winner. Everyone else made some nice moves. The Giants go grab Chris Bryant. Toronto at the last few minutes go get Jose Berrios. Listen, everyone but the Red Sox. Red Sox go and get Schwarber, who I think won't be ready till September 1st. He's played one game at first base his whole life. If you got Schwarber with Rizzo, the Sox would have been the favorites, I think, in the American League. Now they go to Tampa. The team's deflated because they think you don't believe in us and you didn't go out and get us some arms. You didn't get us a first baseman. And they get swept by Tampa, and now a game and a half out. So they got a much-needed day off, but your team was the hands down the winner of the trade deadline.
Well, all I know is that the Chicago became the greatest arms dealer since Al Capone.
You're right.
Because the way that they were throwing away talent, I said, damn, they just disregarded the 2016 World Series championship. Just all the work Epstein did is just let's just tear the house down.
And the shocker there is we knew Bryant was going, and then I didn't even talk about the White Sox. They had Kimbrel. So they already had one of the best back ends with the front end, and now they have Kimbrel with Hendricks. So look out for them. But I can't believe then they just said, you know what, Javi, go ahead, see ya. We're all set. And they trade him to the Mets.
Right. And you know what? I think Baez and Lindor will become one of the better duos in baseball right now. And the Mets have put themselves in position to play for an NLCS. I hate to say it. I know the Mets have not been on your TV dial because they're not the Yankees. But at the end of the day, though, they've been consistent. They've been in first place. And they added a superstar player to a team that needed a superstar player because the pitching staff already has a superstar in DeGrom. And you know what? Quiet as kept, Marcus Stroman's one of the better pitchers in the National League as well, too. Walker is kind of falling apart, let's be honest here, because he hasn't had some great outings the last few times out. And their pitching is good. Then you got the polar bear, Pete Alonso, as well, too. They can write their own New York story here, moving on to the championship series and possibly the World Series as well, too. I think they're a strong bet to win the pennant. To be honest with you, I know the Dodgers, because you got to understand, the Dodgers are my team, but I got to be open-minded as well, too, Jeff. And that's all the time. You know what I mean? I can't just be Dodgers, because what's the point of having a show if I'm just going to be Dodgers? You know what I mean? Thing is, I see other teams making their move right now, and the Dodgers are spending so much time trying to catch the Giants that hopefully they're not spent by the time they get to the playoffs trying to catch the Giants. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the Giants, I hate to say this, but the Giants are going to wind up winning the West because they're doing everything possible, and they just keep being able to avoid the Dodgers moving ahead of them. It just isn't. It's like day and night. Dodgers will be there game and a half a game out, and they're playing Arizona tonight. Should be a win for the Dodgers. Dodgers go in there and we go lose by 7 runs, and then the Giants wind up winning by 10 runs, and it's like, oh man. Then you get them out to LA 4 games in a row, and you got the dominant end of the pitching matchup in the last 3 games, and you still lose 2 out of 3 of them. Why? Because you have an over the hill closer, and you pretty much couldn't get your bats going at the right time. And this is just everything on the wall showing me that the Giants will either. It don't matter how many games the Giants win this by, they're going to win the West. It's looking like right now, and I know a lot of Dodgers fans don't want to hear that, but the way that things keep coming across, it does seem like it could be their division to lose right now, the Giants. Dodgers put together.
We've talked about the Giants all year, and they're just hanging around. And the assumption is, obviously, that you guys were eventually going to pass them. And you got the gift of all gifts with Tatis. Looks like he's gonna try to hang on for 10 days and see if that shoulder goes back together. Otherwise, he's going to surgery. He's done for the year. So
yeah, he's done. No, most definitely he's going to be done for the year because
you made the power. You made the power move, but guess what? You could definitely be in that wild card game. In one game, anything could happen. So you could be facing the Padres in that 1 game elimination. So all the moves that you made at the break, and you wheel out Max Scherzer, and you're facing, let's say, Darvish. It's at home, but are you going to feel comfortable with Jansen in a tie ball game in the 9th inning? No. So anything can happen. So you really, with these moves that you made, you better come win the division.
It's possible, Jeff. I think they really got to make sure that next time they play the Giants, though, that they win the series. And they got 7 more with San Diego as well, too. And then you start looking up and be like, but how many more do we have with the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, though? Batting practice, as you can see, 13-0 yesterday. Batting practice. Who told you could win on Friday? Dodgers whoop them 2 days in a row. It winds up being 21-3 the last 2 games that they played against them. Whoa, 8-3 one day. It was 8-3 one day, and then it was 13-0 the next day. So it's like, man. And then they showed the Dodgers are now 21-4 against these guys over the last few seasons. It's a damn shame. It's tough to be a Diamond. It's tough to be the Diamondbacks when they play the Dodgers. But all in all, let's get into it, Jeff. I'm doing a lot of goofing off. Let's go ahead and talk about the Orioles and the Yankees. Orioles coming here plus 185 today. And I think what's going to happen here is that you got a Yankees team minus 225. Yankees feeling themselves because they do have the new wave in there, the new wave, baby. And I think that could work out a little bit for them in a sense today. But all in all, though, this is one of those games where you could get the hiccup a little bit. You got Andrew Heaney on the mound, if all pitchers. So that should open up the Orioles' eyes a little bit. But I think that this is going to be a good little, welcome to the Yankees game today. And I think the Yankees wind up winning this game today as well, too, Jeff. It could be an upset, but I think the Yankees got this one up under control because the Yankees kind of know what time it is. It's winning time. So they got to get to it. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's one of these that the Yankees make the moves at the trade deadline. They had the perfect storm where they played the Marlins. They get the 3-game sweep there. Now they come home. They get to show off their shiny new toys. They have Haney start tonight. You expect to see Gallo and Rizzo in the lineup versus a righty Lopez that's struggling. 61% of the bets, 90% of the money coming all in on the Yankees as expected. Over-under opened at 9.5, currently at 10, with 43% of the bets, but 57% of the money coming in on the under. So I think what they're kind of sort of expecting is Haney to find himself to pitch, a good 5 innings, maybe 6, and the bats to shine. The only way I could get into this game would to be taking the Yankees minus the 1.5 full game. The problem with that is that they're only guaranteed 24 outs. That 9th inning is not guaranteed. But I can't, be releasing a minus 250 or 260. So I would lean Yankees run line minus the 1.5 and hope they get out early and often, Pops.
All right, we'll move on to our next game, another divisional game. NL East, it's going to be Phillies at the Nats. And the Phillies are going to be minus 130. Nats are plus 110 here. Pretty much what we're doing here. We got the over-under a 9 as well. You know what? These teams like play each other damn near every week now, Jeff. You know what I mean? Like, wow. Every time I look up, I'm talking a Phillies and Nats game. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think that this game right here is more of a game that you look at and you say to yourself, okay, what is really on the table here? You got Suarez, who's coming in here 5-3 on the year, 1.12 ERA, 42 strikeouts to over 14 walks. And then you got the kid, this is crazy, Josiah Gray makes his MLB Major League debut a week or two ago. And then next thing you know, he's in a Washington Nationals jersey. And you know what? The Dodgers, as we were saying, I was even talking to my father about this, that, you know, pretty much the Dodgers are just over here doing dress rehearsal right now, throwing out, you know, they were literally having a, as they would say, what they call those cells that you do on your front line.
What's that?
Those cells that you do on your front line.
Oh, you talking yard sales?
Yeah, they did. You pretty much did a minor league yard sale for the MLB. And Josiah Gray, seen as their big pitching prospect. That's the reason why you get to make sure the Max Scherzer deal is, because what you did was you helped the Nationals secure their future, because the Nationals are going to rebuild this team around Juan Soto soon. I can see Steven Strasburg on the way out as well, too, with another significant injury as well. So, you know, and they already got rid of Rendon, you know, years ago. So, you know, Rendon was the biggest reason why they won the World Series. So pretty much now you can see the Nats are going back to being who the Nats truly are. And that's just a team that's going to build up to getting themselves some more, you know, big prospects to help their team possibly become a factor. You know what I mean? But all in all, we can see the writing is on the wall with that. The Phillies are kind of just going through the motions, even though they still got a great opportunity to catch the Mets, but they really have to catch fire at some point. You know what I mean? Because the Mets are really there waiting on somebody to overtake first place, too, at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's how I've been feeling with the Mets for a while. Real quick, what are your thoughts, though?
It's a game where it's almost like a popcorn and beer game in regards to, you got, like you said, someone making their debut, and Suarez is going to give them 3 innings at best. It's a bullpen game for the Phillies, who we all know their back end is not strong as well. 61% of the bets, 68% of the money is coming in on the Phillies. I actually have them now down to minus 112 pops. The under-over opened at 9. I'm seeing 8.5 at Westgate, Circa, and Caesars. 61% of the bets and 68% of the money coming in on the over, yet it dropped a half run. So I'm going to have to say the sharper side tonight in this game, believe it or not, would be on the under. If you can get 9, buy it now. Otherwise, you know, it's 8.5 everywhere else. So a game of unknowns, Pops. That's what I'll tell you on this game, a game of unknowns.
All right. All right, we get into this next game. It's going to be a good one. This is going to be the doing the show. What's up? Yeah. We got the Rays and the Mariners, and they keep sleeping on my Mariners now, Jeff. Yeah, Mariners sitting right there in good position to be a spoiler. You know what? Somewhat. This is a team that is going to mess up a lot of team seasons in September, in my opinion. If they're playing against teams that are at the brink of the playoffs and things of that nature. You know, they'll have that intact. You know what I mean? So pretty much, you know, I think that tonight this is going to be a good one. And I actually see the Mariners being a little bit of a thorn in the side as well, too. Flexen's been pitching absolutely tremendous lately, and they got a lot of good things working in their favor. I know that they gave up a little bit during the trade deadline as well, too. But you know what? The Mariners are building, and I think that they're pretty much have made themselves a nice landing spot for one of these big free agents come wintertime as well, too. Jeff, what are your thoughts on that? And pretty much, what do you see going on in this game tonight?
Well, the balloon was popped. This team was red hot, and then for some reason they traded Graveman to Houston, and the clubhouse was not happy, and Graveman left in tears. And unknown why they decided to go that route, put it that way. Tonight there was a correction. The Rays opened up at 160, and they've shot up to minus 211, and your Mariners right now are plus 191. So it's a perfect letdown spot. It's a perfect letdown spot for the Rays after the sweep against the Red Sox, and they didn't have to travel. They're still home. Seattle comes into town. Again, a lot of the numbers today are just too big to be looking at any favorites. If you were looking at a favorite, again, you'd have to dig into the run line and hope and pray. So for us, again, under-over opened at 8.5 and is currently at 9. 56% of the bets in a 50-50 split on the under. So for us, it's a sit and watch game. As a Red Sox fan, we're pulling for your Seattle. So maybe a little beer and pizza money on Seattle plus 191 and enjoy the game.
All right. All right, we'll move on to another divisional game. It's going to be the Angels and the Rangers tonight. And you know what? This is a fun spot for the Angels, and it's a good spot for the Rangers as well, too. But this is a scoreboard watching game to me as well, too. The Rangers have been absolutely pathetic since the All-Star break. You know that, right, Jeff? Since returning from the All-Star break, it's been a sham, dude. It's like their pitchers are really giving up at least, every time out, it seems like no more than 8 runs a game. You know what I mean? Well, they had an okay day. They had an okay weekend with the Mariners, who don't score a lot of runs. But all in all, if you score a lot of runs and you play the Rangers, be ready for one of your better days in baseball. You know what I mean? Because that's how bad this team is, in a sense. I think that the Angels, once again, have underachieved. They could have been so much better this year. You had so many expectations for this team as well, too. They got rid of Pujols early in the season. The Trout goes down with the injury. They've been being saved by Shotani the last year for this whole season, because he's doing it on both ends as well, too. So, the Angels are in a position right now to where they're really, really, really just tough to watch, Jeff. I saw the game yesterday. It was very empty for a game against the A's, who are arch rival of the Angels. I know it's hot and everything like that, but fans really just found other things to do this weekend other than watch the Angels out there in Orange County, and that should be tell all for R.D. Moreno that he needs to get this thing fixed, and he needs to get this thing fixed quickly too. But all in all, though, that's something that we talk about. That's something we'll think about in the offseason. I think that this game is a scoreboard watching game. I think the over is a great play here as well too. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Angels and Rangers. Rangers having a hard time scoring. They're one of their better pitchers. Dunning on the mound today. I got currently right now undecided for LA, so I don't know if they're going to go with obviously a bullpen game. My assumption is that Haney is going to be obviously in New York today, so they'll probably have to go to the bullpen. A game that we will be watching as well. Some value in the Rangers plus the 115, maybe a first 5 look with Dunning, and the Angels having to use a bullpen, but nothing exciting on our end here for either side, Pops.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's see about the Pirates and the Brewers, another divisional game today. Pirates coming in here plus 170, big dog. And the Brewers are minus 200. But you know why I think the Pirates could be a strong play for you is because they just got done getting beat up by the Brewers last week. And it seems like when teams get to play you on the comeback about 10 days after getting dismantled by you, they play better baseball, Jeff. And I think today the Pirates could be up to it to keeping this game very, very close. I don't know if they can win it, but I think that they keep the game close. I like them with the spread today. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, interesting, because that used to be the train of thought. You get swept at your place, and then you go the following week, 10 days later, to the opponent's place. It's a good spot for them to pounce on them. Again, a number that is just so high, opened at 195, now 215. You can grab the Pirates at plus 195 on the Vegas Strip. You can even get them at plus 200 at the Westgate. So would lean Pirates here, just on price and value. If you're a little leery of their back end, you can always try to grab them in the first 5 spot. Milwaukee, month of July offense finally woke up. They've been playing great. A team that no one was really talking about and sleeping on. A team with a strong back end, obviously, with the lefty Josh Hader. I'm sorry. Anchoring it back there. So value-wise, Wilson, first 5. Other than that, it's again a sit and watch, and another too big of a price on the favorite.
You're right. But that spread looked good to me, though, Jeff. Spread looked good to me, though. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about another divisional game, and this is going to be the Giants at the Diamondbacks. The Giants coming in here minus 160. Diamondbacks plus 135. Now, the Diamondbacks can't do anything with the Dodgers, but they seem to be able to always do something to the Giants, though. Jeff, I don't know. I guess they got a better intel on their scouting report. But I think that, once again, this game will wind up being kind of a yawner in a sense. It's the end of the night as well, too. You really don't know who's going to win the game, but all in all, it should be a really good game. And the Diamondbacks, they always figure out a way to kind of just murky up things, especially, I think that they'll have a better effort tonight. That's all I'm saying, Jeff. He just got whooped 13-0. Literally, 13-0, Jeff. You're already down 5-0, literally, as soon as the game started. So, let that roll off your back, dust off your shoulders. Today is a new day, right?
Yeah, and a game that opened at 175, now 200. Another big public favorite. 85% of the bets, 89% of the money, all coming in on the Giants. And listen, Descafani has not been the same pitcher that he was to start the year. Arizona going with Widener. Again, on paper, looks like the Giants come in with a whitewash, but we've seen stranger things happen. I mean, right now, top of the 4th, the Indians leading the Blue Jays 2-0, and the Blue Jays closed at around 270. So we're at those dog days of the year after the break where Vegas really creates these numbers that are making almost impossible to get to these favorites unless you're using the run lines or the alternative lines. And then when you do that, you're just taking your actual odds away. So on paper, it looks like the Giants, maybe first 5, you might be able to get them minus a half run, minus 120, 125, if you're itching to get into a game today. But again, I can't lay the minus 200.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Jeff, let's go ahead and get into it. Talking tickets. And here goes my primetime pick 6 for today. We're going to go with Yankees minus 1.5. I'm going to take the Nats today with the plus 105 today as well, too. I'm going to take the Mariners as my dog of the day with the plus 135 at that point. But now everybody can get themselves even more value on the Mariners, so why not? And then we're going to go ahead and take the over 7.5 here with the Rangers and the Angels today. And then we got the Pirates at plus 1.5. And I like the Diamondbacks and Giants to go under 9 tonight. And as I always say, single what you like. So what's your thoughts on that group right there, Jeff?
As my boy's cameo, remember the single life. So always single what you like.
Right.
I like the Yankees minus the 1.5. I think that their bats will shine today. The Nats, again, against Phillies, it's definitely a coin toss. You talked about the Mariners plus 135. We can grab them now plus 190. Unsure of who's starting for the Angels, so therefore an over plus 7.5 would definitely be in play. I talked about the Pirates. It is a good spot for them. Maybe to steal one, you're grabbing the 1.5. And the under DBacks and Giants, again, the DBacks have a real hard time scoring. So if the Giants get out early, you could be on that side. But again, anyone listening here right now, always single what you like, and you're getting a great price. Your 59 to 1's probably at around a 65, 67 to 1 right now.
All right, let's go. So I can say Moody Mondays, Jeff. The last 2 Mondays, I've been off by just one. Hopefully this Monday, we ain't off by none. And we
it pays the bills and the mortgage and the rent for the month. How's that?
Yes, this is your rent. This is the rent ticket, okay? Rent ticket. Tell you. And the way that people ask about this ticket on a daily basis, I just have to go out and let me make sure my face is being shown when I'm going this little rant before we go on outro. People that want to get the daily ticket, you guys have opportunities to watch the show for hours before. So don't come to me 30 minutes before the game and say, where are the plays? Especially if you're not a client, okay? Let's cut that where are the plays stuff out as if I'm working for you or something of that nature, or I make these bets and tickets just for you, okay? Random Twitter people that just signed up for Twitter this month, weirdos. So pretty much I know this sounds kind of asinine because it's like, why would you be talking about the fans like that? But I don't feel like those people are fans though, Jeff. I feel like they're what we want to say degenerates. You know what I mean? And, you know, pretty much they want to piggyback off of something. So if it's going good, they're going to say all the greatest things in the world about you. But if it's going bad, you're going to be the worst capper in life. So pretty much, you know, as people need to understand, have some patience. Damn plays will be up when they're going to be up. But you have plenty of opportunities to watch it on Facebook Live, and you got opportunities to watch it on YouTube as well, too. My job is not to cater to you. My job is to make sure that I'm putting out quality stuff and making sure that we do it a bit different from the big wigs that you see on your TV on a daily basis. And that's it, and that's all. That's my rant for today, Joe.
No, you know, without being a wise ass here, you know, it's all about the freebies. It's all about the soup kitchen. It's all about give me more and more and more. And the problem in our business is this, is if someone comes knocking on our door and says, I'll pay you tomorrow with a winner tonight, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, because if you give them the winner, they're going to want another freebie. And if you lose, well, you suck. You don't know what you're talking about, okay? And for myself and yourself, I've been on Twitter. You've been on Twitter since 2011, 2012. Our names, our faces, our brand, it's second to none. And we put in the work, we put in the effort. And, you know, this isn't we are the world and hold hands and sing kumbaya. I mean, it's a marathon. It's a daily grind. You win. You don't win every day. You don't win every week. You don't win every month. The bottom line is at the end of the year, you hope to be on the positive. If you can get 51.9%, or better, you're winning. If you get 52 to 54%, you are considered sharp. Anything over that, forget about it. So the guys that saying they're hitting 70, 75%, yeah, they got also a bridge that they're going to sell you tomorrow too. So go see Vegas, Dave. Go get the whale play of the day and have fun.
And it's like that, and that's the way it is. Yeah,
that's right.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Hopefully we get Jeff back on Friday to talk some more angles with us and everything like that, because there's going to be plenty to talk about, because we'll have another crazy week happening. I know, because there's a lot of deals now that are in place. But all in all, I want to thank you guys so much. I know we went a little bit over our time today, but hey, I'm back after a week, so you guys know that's the way you wanted it. So pretty much it is what it is. We will be back tomorrow. I was going to have Gino Picola on the show, but Gino will have to be with us next week. So I'll be riding away by myself. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in once again. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and the Don of Cape Cod himself, my main man, Jeff Dawson. And we are gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production,